Good morning. Last five lectures we have discussed about the free vibrations with two different categories, longitudinal vibrations and transverse vibrations. We have calculated the natural frequency of longitudinal as well as transverse vibration, and we solved some problems based upon the concepts which we developed in those few topics. Today we would like to move a new topic called damped vibrations, how a damped vibration differs from a free vibration, and in damped vibration what are the categories are available, that is damped free vibration and damped forced vibration, and where you get such a vibrations, and how we can apply the basic fundamentals which we have studied in the first few lectures on vibrations. Okay, now first let us focus on damped free vibration. Damped free vibration. Recall the classification when we made categorically vibrations under two ways. One is called free vibration and another one is called forced vibration. The difference between free vibration and forced vibration is, in free vibration the force is given initially to vibrate the body, and subsequently there is no external forces added to continue the vibration. Whereas in forced vibration we give initial force and we don't leave it the vibrating body as such. Further we add continuously the input force, which is called forced vibration. So the basic difference is the input energy or the input force that you add it in case 1 and case 2. If you don't add it, it is called free vibration. If you add it, it is called forced vibration. Then what is damped free vibration and what is damped forced vibration? Let us see. In case of damped free vibration, the vibration is given by applying an initial force and the body is vibrating. Then subsequently no additional force is added, and at the same time there is a resistance or there is an opposing is given to the vibration with the help of a medium which opposes the vibration, which is called damping, isn't it? So even you provide the damping, even if you don't provide the damping, in realistic terms, when you talk a vibration is concerned, vibration will definitely undergo with a damped vibration only, because the molecular frictional resistance in the body will also opposes a certain amount of resistance to vibrating body, and the surrounding air resistance also will oppose the vibrating motion. But we neglect usually those opposing forces. When you create the opposing force or when you provide some external resistance for the vibration, then only we call it as a damped category. Okay, so how we can generate a governing equation for this, and what are the various parameters that are essential to explain the behavior of a damped free vibration, let us see. So in a damped free vibration category, we represent the system is like this. So there is a spring mass system with a dash part, or is also called as a damper. Okay, this is connected to a mass. So this is the mass M. When you connect it to the spring with a stiffness of K and a damper with a damping coefficient of C. So if you look at this originally, like when you add your mass and to the spring, Okay, it causes certain amount of deformation, that is the self weight causes a deformation, that is the static deformation or static deflection, where this mass is occupied to a new position like this. So the center of the mass is shifted to an amount of delta. So this is called static deflection. If this mass is allowed to vibrate by giving a displacement of x, so new position of the mass is here, so by giving a displacement of x to the center of the mass, so then the velocity and acceleration are also provided to the mass. So this is the displacement given in a downward direction. Of course, it continuously vibrates from the mean position. It goes up and down. Okay, at an instant, let us given a displacement in the downward direction. Okay, then you can see there will be an inertia force mx double dot, and there will be a spring force cx dot, and there is a damping force, sorry, spring force is kx and damping force is cx dot. Okay, so here m is the mass and k is the stiffness, c is the damping, and delta is static deflection, x is the displacement given. So displacement given. So under the equilibrium condition, we can write the inertia force plus spring force plus damping force is equal to 0. That is inertia force plus damping force plus spring force is equal to 0. That is m x double dot plus cx dot plus kx is equal to 0. Okay, this can be written as m d square x by dt square c dx by dt plus kx is equal to 0. So this is a differential equation, second order equation, differential equation of second order. Okay, so the solution for this, solution for the differential equation can be written as x is equal to e power st. So we can write the solution for this equation, x is equal to e power st. Then if you differentiate this, x dot will be s into e power st. Then x double dot is equal to s square into e power st. So just differentiate it, e power st. So dx by dt is x dot, that is st differentiation s e power st, then x double dot is s square into e power st. Then substitute in that above equation, that is m into, so x double dot, that is s square e power st. Okay, so this can be written as in the other way, like d square by x dt square plus c by m dx by dt plus k by m into x is equal to 0. That equation, entire thing is divided with divided with m. So c by m, k by m is equal to 0. So if I write this, then this becomes s square e power st plus c by m into s into e power st plus k by m into e power st is equal to 0. So you can take e power st as a common, that is s square plus c by m plus k by m is equal to 0. So e power st into s square plus c by m plus k by m is 0. So you can see either this is equal to 0 or this is equal to 0. So if the time is not 0 at any other time, e power st will be never become 0. Then the only alternative is, so s square plus c by m into s plus k by m is equal to 0. So this is an equation like ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. The roots can be written as s12 is equal to minus b, that is minus b plus or minus root over b square minus 4ac by 2a. A is 1. So this gives c by 2m minus c by 2m. Okay, then plus or minus root over c by 2m whole square, then minus k by m. So if you take the 2 in the numerator, denominator here, then c by 2m. So 2 when it goes inside, then it becomes 1 by 4. So whereas here square is there, so I can write it 2m, and 4 by 4 is 1, that is c by 2m whole square minus k by m. Okay, so here you can see this value which is there in this root, that is minus that is c by 2m whole square minus k by m, decides the nature of the damping of this vibration. Okay, so here there are 3 cases are there. So here we write a term called damping factor, which is nothing but it is the ratio of c by 2m whole square by k by m under root. So we define a term called damping factor, which is c by 2m whole square by k by m, which is represented with zeta. Suppose if your c by 2m whole square is greater than k by m. So c by 2m whole square is greater than k by m. Okay, then what will happen? Your zeta will be greater than 1. Why? Because you see here the c by 2m whole square minus k by m, where c by 2m is said to be greater than k by m, then this value is more and this is less, then naturally this value will be greater than 1, zeta will become greater than 1, which is called over damping. Say c by 2m whole square is less than k by m, which is said to be zeta is less than 1, is called under damping. The third case, where c by 2m whole square is equal to 1 k by m, that is c by 2m whole square by k by m is 1, that is zeta is equal to 1, which is called critical damping. Critical damping. So if it is a critical damping, the damping coefficient is called critical damping coefficient, that is c by 2m whole square, isn't it, can be written as k by m. If I take square outside, that is c by 2m is equal to root k by m, or at this moment when it is equal, then c is called critical damping coefficient, cc is equal to 2m root k by m. So you can write this 2 root km. So here root k by m, so if you get cancel m here, it will become root m, and already root k is there, then 2 root km. It is 2 root km. So if you want to write, this can be written in the other way. We know omega n is equal to root k by m. So cc can also be written as 2m omega n. Because you are aware of it, what is root k by m? We defined root k by m is equal to omega n. Then this becomes cc is equal to 2m omega n. cc is equal to 2m omega n. So what is over damping, what is under damping, what is critical damping, how the behavior of the vibration will behave, it depends upon this damping. Okay, that we will see by considering the graphical representation of this under damping, over damping and critical damping. Okay, let us see the behavior of a damped vibration with the different values of damping factor zeta, that is zeta c by 2m whole square by k by m under root. Let us see for further. Parలేదు. Now let us see zeta, how it influences three different categories of vibrations, that is over damped, under damped and critical damped. So we have just now defined zeta, okay, which is less than 1, greater than 1, equal to 1. These are the three things which we said. It is called critical damping. This is over damping. And under damping. Under damping. In case of these three cases, where you get periodic nature, where you get aperiodic. What is periodic and what is aperiodic? Aperiodic is one which is continuously undergoes for a vibration which repeats, a periodic in nature. Every time it repeats, that is called aperiodic. Aperiodic. So periodic and aperiodic. So one is periodic and another one is aperiodic. If you look at over damping and critical damping, these two are aperiodic in nature. These are aperiodic in nature, and under damping is periodic in nature. You can see the right hand side, the diagram which indicates the displacement versus time. Like you can have displacement versus time. So if it is an undamped vibration, then there is no damping. The vibration will continuously vibrate the body with a free vibration which is undamped, okay, free vibration. This is a one where the vibration will not undergo any decay. So if you look at the other one, underdamped vibration, that is where the displacement is continuously decreasing. Like after some time it comes to the rest, which is called underdamping, where the value of zeta is less than 1. So this is periodic, it repeats, isn't it? It repeats, it goes on repeating, and of course your frequency also varies. Your frequency also varies. It varies the frequency like this. Then there are two more cases, that is critical damping as well as the over damping. So in case of over damping and critical damping, they never comes back to what you call repetitive in nature, and it takes a large amount of time to come to the rest, okay, and it never dies. So you can see a critical damping and over damping. So in case of over damping and critical damping, they never come back. So this is under damping, okay, this is over damping, and this is critical damping. Where zeta is greater than 1, zeta is equal to 1. So you can see in over damping and critical damping, they will not come to once again for the periodic style, they come to the rest without vibrating in a cyclic nature. That is why they are called aperiodic. So where we use over damping and critical damping, and where we use under damping. So in general, majority of your equipment will undergo a damping called under damping, and the critical damping is a one where you are designed to make the system only to come to the rest within the short period of time, where we use critical damping. So just have a practical example where we use this critical damping is gun barrels, guns. Okay, so you are aware of it. So when a bullet is releasing from the gun, so the bullet goes front, then the gun comes back. So that is what we call a recoil, that is moving bullet to forward direction and back the gun in the reverse direction. So if you select a spring in such a guns with a under damping, then what will happen? The gun will come to the rest position after undergoing a number of cycles, but it is not permitted to vibrate your gun n number of times. Your gun has to come to rest position as and when the bullet leaves, then the gun has to come to the rest, then only you can shoot by another bullet. So that is what a case called critical damping. So there the spring is designed with damping coefficient that is zeta is equal to 1, critical damping. Then we can write damped frequency in terms of natural frequency and zeta, omega d is equal to omega n into root of 1 minus zeta square. So this is in another equation which we use very quite common in the problem solving. Damped frequency and natural frequency and damping factor. Okay, damped frequency, that means which one is it, under damped or over damped or critical damped? Damped frequency means definitely it is under damped, because over damped and critical damped there is no oscillations, then you don't get the number of cycles part, that is equal to omega n into root over 1 minus zeta square. Okay, so if you change the value of zeta, then the damping frequency will change, because the natural frequency is a fixed one, this is a fixed value. So the only variable is zeta. Omega d is equal to omega n into root over 1 minus zeta square, isn't it? Then here in damped vibration, we can define another term, very important term, logarithmic decrement. Logarithmic decrement. What is logarithmic decrement and how we can write this logarithmic decrement? Logarithmic decrement, let us see. So if you look at this under damped vibration, the vibration will be decayed in such a manner like there will be certain amount of decay that happens from cycle to cycle. Say this is original initially, in the next cycle, next cycle, next cycle. Suppose if I take the amplitude as initially x0, then x1, then x2, so on xn. So we can see one phenomena, what is it, is x0 by x1 is equal to x1 by x2 is equal to x2 by x3 is equal to, so on, is equal to xn by xn plus 1. So the ratio of the successive amplitudes of a damped vibration, the ratio of the successive amplitude of damped vibration will give you a constant which is x0 by x1 is equal to x1 by x2, x2 by x3, so on, xn by xn by xn. Then we define a term called delta, which is logarithmic decrement. Delta is equal to R, delta is defined as logarithmic decrement, that is called ln x0 by x1, or also ln is equal to, ln into xn by xn plus 1, because all of them are equal. You can write any one ratio that gives the same value. So this is given by delta is equal to log x1 by x2, x2 by x3, so on. Okay, this is also written in terms of zeta is like this. Delta is equal to 2 pi zeta by root over 1 minus zeta square. So what is this zeta? Zeta is the damping factor. So zeta is the damping factor and delta is the logarithmic decrement. So the relation between the logarithmic decrement and the damping factor is delta is equal to 2 pi zeta by root over 1 minus zeta square. This is very commonly used in the problems are concerned, isn't it? So you can use this logarithmic decrement to solve the problems in subsequent lectures. We will see the beauty of this term delta and this relation between delta and zeta. Okay, then we will move to what is damped forced vibration. Till now what we have covered is damped free vibration. We covered damped free vibration, free, that means no external force is supplied once it started vibrating, damped free. Now I would like to move, the next part is damped forced vibration. and we will see how the governing equation can be written and what are the important terms that they are associated in damped forced vibration. Now let us see what is a damped forced vibration and what is the governing equation for this. So in damped free vibration, we don't supply an external force continuously, whereas in a damped forced vibration, there will be an external force supplied continuously. So the remaining thing is same what we have discussed just now, same is applicable here. There is a damper, spring and a mass system as it is, everything same, like stiffness of the spring K and damping is C and mass is M, which is given a velocity, displacement and acceleration in a downward direction. Okay, so this here you can see a continuously a force is applied F sin omega t or F cos omega t. You can say either it is sin omega t or cos omega t. So there is a continuous force which is applied on the system. So here inertia force mx double dot, spring force kx, damping force cx dot is equal to F sin omega t. So the governing equation is mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx is equal to F sin omega t. So this is the governing equation for damped forced vibration. Okay, so its solution can be written as a complementary function and a particular integral. So its solution, the solution can be written as a sum of a particular integral and complementary function. So what is particular integral and what is complementary function? So particular integral is a one which dies after some time, and the complementary function is continuously going on, isn't it? So here we can write the different terms like amplitude of the vibration A is equal to x naught by root over 1 minus omega square by omega n square whole square plus 2 zeta omega by omega n whole square. So what is this amplitude? Okay, and what is it? X naught, where x naught is equal to F by K. What is x naught and what is F by K? Let us see. So the vibration which causes a displacement and its amplitude is given by simply x naught by root over 1 minus omega square by omega n square whole square plus 2 zeta omega by omega n whole square, where x naught is F by K. What is the physical significance of this F by K? If the force is applied on the body with a body stiffness of K, then the static deflection which it gives is F by K. That is, if the force is applied not under the vibrating mode, which is allowed simply to deform, which gives the static deflection, is F by K, isn't it? That is x naught. And then you can see the amplitude is by 1 minus omega square by omega n square whole square plus t zeta omega by omega n square whole square. So it is function of omega is the external excitation frequency, omega n is the natural frequency, zeta is the damping. So it depends upon the amplitude of the vibration and the forced vibration, that is a forced damped vibration, is function of the damping, how much you provide and what is the external frequency we apply. So here we also define two important terms. One is magnification factor, and another one is transmissibility. magnification factor and transmissibility. So these two terms, magnification factor and transmissibility, we discuss separately in another video where we discuss elaborately. So the transmissibility is represented by epsilon, which is nothing but Ft by F naught, force transmitted by force applied, and magnification factor is nothing but A by X naught. That is the amplitude of the vibration which is under dynamic state, and X naught is the static displacement. Its ratio, magnification factor, is the ratio of the vibrating body amplitude by its static deflection. That means if you look at here A by X naught, if you take it out, then it will be simply becomes 1 by root over 1 minus omega square by omega n square whole square plus 2 zeta omega by omega n whole square. Then Ft by F naught, that is force transmitted by force applied. That ratio is called transmissibility epsilon. So the next lecture we are focusing only on magnification factor and transmissibility and the phase angle, that is tan phi is equal to 2 zeta omega by omega n by 1 minus omega by omega n square. This is the phase angle. So the lecture 7 will discuss elaboratively magnification factor, transmissibility and the phase angle, okay, with respect to the omega by omega n, how they varies for a different values of zeta. So that is the lecture which deals only these terms, and then we will solve some problems based upon the theoretical part what we discussed in today's lecture. Thank you.